Hello everyone, this is Lynn and welcome to my channel. Today I'm breaking out my unused Moleskine large sketchbook that I bought 3 years ago. Yes, 3 years. And I thought it was about time that I started doing some mixed media in it. Also, I received my Distress Oxides order a few weeks back and wanted to play. Here, I'm just going through a bunch of papers that I intended to use in this spread. I have a file for what I call textured papers and another with various clippings obtained from magazines or brochures. This entire layout was inspired by Heba's video of an art journal collaboration between her, Kyra and Documented Journey. I'm not part of the collaboration but thought the prompts they came up with were quite fun. I've listed them in the description below, but they are basically to use tissue, hearts, something green, a face, and add paint with a palette knife. I've also provided links to their channels in the description bar. I didn't really follow any particular order, but there were some things that I did wish I had done differently. As for the faces, I took 2 out because I wasn't sure which I wanted to use, but settled with the face of the little girl. I'm using Liquitex matte gel medium to stick everything down and started with the cracked concrete pattern tissue paper that I found in my stash of papers. I used my bone folder to even out the pages and to crease the center. The Liquitex brand of matte gel medium is my favorite so far, and I sometimes even use it as a primer instead of gesso. Of course, I have to dry in between the layers and you'll see me whipping out the heat tool quite a bit. Then I just cut off some of the excess tissue. Next, I used matte gel to stick down the girl's face, and yes, she's wearing a mask. I think this was taken from an air purifier pamphlet. Anyway, I didn't have a clue of what I wanted the title to be yet, but I was just plonking things down first. After that, I applied some gesso to knock back the intensity of the background and also to prime the pages. I did wipe off some of the gesso from the girl's face because it was too light. The gesso I was using is by Faber-Castell and it's quite liquidy and sheer. Now here's where the fun kinda begins. I've been wanting to get my hands on these Distress Oxides ever since Tim Holtz first released them, but they weren't available in the States at the time I was visiting, so I waited until Blitsy restocked and immediately ordered some when I got back. I got 6 colors, but only used 4 in this layout. I started with Spice Marmalade, added some cracked pistachio, and worn lipstick. I used vintage photo around the edges and my mini blending tool with the new sponges to spread the color. I then sprinkled some water on the pages to activate the ink. This is where the so-called oxidation happens, but it can't really be seen on this layout for some reason. After that, I did spritz the pages with more water from a spray bottle and it did create some chalky effect. I have to play and experiment with this stuff more. As you're watching this, it was my first time using the Distress Oxides and I was sort of learning as I go. You can probably see the effect a bit better in the close-ups at the end of the video. Next, I added some cutout flowers on the girl's head because it was kinda chopped off. I came up with an arrangement I sort of liked and stuck everything down with more matte gel medium. As for the heart element, I got out a Simon Says stamp tiny heart stencil. These hearts are really small and they're so sweet and adorable. You probably can't see them all too well, but there's a better close-up at the end. I use Ranger's texture paste and a palette knife to spread a thin layer over the stencil. After using the stencil, I did wipe it down with a baby wipe and took it to the sink to wash because you won't want texture paste to dry on it as it will cake up your stencils. This stuff is very difficult to remove once dried. Now this is where I wish I had done things in a different order. I would usually apply the stamp layer before the stencil, but in my excitement of following the prompts, I did forget to add some stamping. So I took out a Finnabair scripty font that I like to use to add some interest to a background. I also took a Stampendous poppy flower stamp that originally came as a wood-mounted stamp, but I removed the wooden mount as I wanted something a bit more flexible. I stamped the font with the Ranger Archival ink in Coffee Stain, I think, and the flower with Encore Gold. It shows up rather faint in the video, but is very pretty in person. After drying everything, I remembered I had to spread some paint with a palette knife as one of the prompts and thought I might as well use a green distress paint called Mode Lawn to fulfill the add something green criteria. Although I did use the Cracked Pistachio Distress Oxide, I felt it has sort of faded into the background, so I just scraped some bits of green here and there. I also added a bit of shadowing around the girl's head to help her stand out a bit more and used a charcoal pencil that I can smudge. After that, I thought of adding a caption for this layout and went through the Tim Holtz Tiny Wood stickers and a couple of his new washi tapes. I didn't find anything that I wanted to use from the sticker book and turned to Pinterest for ideas as a default. I then found a quote that says, "Do not create limits," and stamped it out with the Tim Holtz Tall Text stamp set. I was going with the idea of not to silence your creativity, and in hindsight, I should have stamped "Don't silence yourself" instead, as it was more befitting to the image. Oh well, I guess you just live and learn. I also cut up some words from the washi tape that says dream, imagination, and discovery. And we're done! I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Although this video may seem like it took only 10 minutes, but in reality it took me an hour to complete, including mucking about and looking for stuff to use. And here you can have a closer look at the layout. Aren't those little hearts darling? Anyway, thank you for watching, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. Thanks again, and until the next time, bye-bye!